So every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so does that mean that when you do a good deed, there's an opposite thing happens also?
Opposite?
Yes. For every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it says.
So I need to understand what your definition of opposite is.
So I was kind of going under the principle that bad things can sometimes bring good results. But then it made me extrapolate that to good things being bad results. So if you do a kindness, does that mean that somewhere in the universe there has to be a cruelty to balance it? Because that's how it works in quantum, right?
Wow, Lauren.
So that's where my mind goes, stupid mind.
Let's go back to the simple idea of that. So if you go back to the physical realm, what I think about when you say equal and opposite reaction is when two things are like in the same circumstances and collide with each other. It can cancel each other out.
Okay, so in order for the water to get hotter, the fire has to get cooler, kind of
to
thing.
exchange energy.
Right, because there's no energy created anew.
Right.
Just transferred.
Yeah, transferring it.
So, I always wonder about it in the stock market. Well, if somebody makes money, does that mean somebody has to lose money? And I think the answer to that is that as long as there's growth, it's not necessarily true. But the idea that you can have constant growth seems unsustainable to me. But some people would say, no, you can have growth, continued growth. And like Stephen Hawking's, that guy, the ALS guy that died, he was the smartest guy in the world. He said the human race can continue to grow its population, but in order to do that, we have to attain some real estate on some other planets. If we can get to another solar system, we're out of cigarettes. I'm taking the last one. Hey baby, what do we do?
Poof, the magic dragon.
Pop the magic dragon.
How high you can fly.
Okay, now wait. Let's not quit where we were.
Right, please.
I think Paul threw a thing of copper wire in the fire, and we had beautiful colored flames for the next hour.
All right, so if everything is exchanging energy, right?
And I didn't really take it from there exactly. It says from an old cliche. Oh, these damn cliches. I've heard it a million times. Why did you hear it a million times? Why is it a cliche and honest? Because it's so damn true that it keeps coming back around. Rachel's pretending, I know what she's doing. She's pretending to photograph the fire, but she's probably getting my babble.
She got a little bit of you.
She might be recording my babble.
Yeah. You've been speaking for 3 minutes and
I'm
49
on
seconds.
when I get on a stream of consciousness,
That'd be great.
it doesn't come from me, it just comes through me.
Yeah.
Just open up your mouth and let the dribble fall out. So I don't even remember what.
And anyone who gets to hear this gets to look at this most amazing fire that Jim brought in from outside today and built, and everybody worked together, so, and they can be peaceful wherever they are. If they're in a cubicle in New York, they can hear what you're saying. And
Those of us who were maybe trying to be environmentally conscious were wondering, what is the environmental impact of burning wood for heat?
Well, for me, I feel sad about it because, and this might be my only objection, is it takes so much longer for that tree to grow than it does for us to burn it and use it.
That's what I was saying about opportunistic, the opportunistic things that grow slowly when you're not watching them. Like they're easy to cut down, but but they'll grow and take over if you turn your back.
So one day I was laying in my bed and I thought about the rainforest dying, and I was, what could I do about it? And I thought, okay, I know there's no such thing as time, and if there's no way to watch anything, then nature can grow as exponentially fast as it wants to. It's only limited by what the bounds that it is. So if no one's watching, the rainforest can grow back so fast and replicate itself.
Yeah, the problem is that though, if two organisms are running on a different time zone, then, the people can use it faster than the forest can grow it. That's like a musical scale, okay? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, but it's all relative. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, da, da, or it could be da, da, da. It's all the same. It doesn't matter what key you're in. It's just the relativity and the comparison between the notes that makes the music. In other words, you can sing, matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match, or you could do the same song, matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. It's the same song. It's the relativity of the notes, not the notes themselves, not the pitch itself. It's the relativity. So when you put person versus tree, and people are moving around really fast, we can burn up the wood a lot faster than the tree. But if we turn our back on it, the forest, that they say the rainforest is coming back some, right?
Well, I asked for it, and I thought it would be for the highest good.
Did you show me something about the rainforest coming back? It was increasing by a certain amount. It was a chart.
Okay,
somebody showed me this chart.
If no one believes in you, I do, you guys. You can grow as fast as you need. There's no time and space, so just do what you gotta do.
As long as you're on your own, but when you start interfacing with other organisms, that's when you run into problems.
So then
you're
we're
on your
scared to
wavelength.
live. I mean, that to me is one question that's been coming in my mind. Are we mostly afraid to actually live life? Knowing what you just said, that we affect everything, that everything affects everything, well then, that seems to me that we begin to understand that we're creators, or co-creators, in some kind of situation, right?
That's what I would say.
And we might take another person's creation, elaborate on it, and send it on
What if you found out, that you think you're playing a game or you're just doing your thing, and then you find out, oh, oops, I am God. Oops. It's like the Ender's Game, where the kids think that they're playing a game, but it's not a game, it's real. Like, if I do a good deed, does that mean somebody it's got to balance it out with a bad deed?
Maybe you're balancing out a bad deed with a good deed.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Maybe you're not the catalyst for it, but you're the
chicken and the egg.
You're neutralizing the energy on the planet. Do you understand?
But in the end, it's all a wash. None of it really matters, because in the end...
What if you didn't do that good deed and that bad deed? What would happen to the bad deed then?
It wouldn't be able to happen. It's like the exchange of electrons. It's like quantum. And I don't even believe in quantum, but
So what? Here's one thing that really bothered me about good deed thing is like, I want to do something just because I was spontaneous in that moment and it came from my whatever. I was just living in the moment, as opposed to like trying to do a good deed, like trying to like do a good deed.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't sound like a fun thing to me, like, do a good deed. It's more like...
feeling generous.
When you lay in bed at night and you look back on your day and you realize how many amazing people you got to hold the door for or smile in their face. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, it wasn't like you planned it, but you just...
It reminds me of the story my gay Catholic friend, Greg, told me about the loaves and the fishes, and about how Jesus, I'm just telling the story, I'm not a Jesus person, that's for the recording, but how Jesus was able to provide food for all the masses, or all the poor people out of whatever, some fishes and whatever. So he inspired the spirit of generosity, is what. And everybody opened their cupboards and shared. And when you're a little kid, you wonder why,
Yeah.
Why are we so greedy? And don't we see how simple it is? Sorry. Erase that.
It's so true. So true.
But then the more you get caught up in the game, the more convoluted it gets. It gets to the point like the more you do, the more there is to do. You know, the cleaner, you know, if you get too involved in cleaning, you can never get it clean enough. You see more and more and more dirt. You have to, you know, it grows, like you say, you know, what you pay attention to, it's the lion you feed. Right? Or the...
To me, a human's most valuable asset is their attention. Because whatever you put your attention to grows. Whatever you think upon.
Or is it just your awareness grows?
You're being aware of it. Therefore, like you said about relativity, it becomes relative to your life. That's why you manifest it, because you think about it enough. Because you're an amazing focuser. And you can focus your energy on something and you can get it done 10 times faster than most human beings would do it because of the power of your focus, which starts with your attention. You know?
Your vision, like you just don't look at it too carefully, or...
Yeah, and you just keep trying something until things fall into place. You just keep moving at it. And everything speaks to you and tells you where it needs to be, and that's exactly perfect.
Somehow you have to
Then
step
it should
out of...
fall in place, huh?
Yeah, it falls in place.
Yeah.
In the most delightful way.
I said it's not, you know... I mean, progress can be real fast, but the job, a fast... you know, you can't plan it ahead on paper. You have to kind of get in there and juggle things around. And you go there to do one thing, you end up doing something completely different. When the road will come to meet you, you know. When the sergeant tells you to jump, you know, you jump. And then while you're in the air, you ask, how high? There's another cliche for you. A stitch in 9 saves 10. A stitch in time saves 9. You know, why do we hear these things over and over again?
Achilles time stays... What does that mean?
A stitch in time. So if you mend something quickly, you avoid the further damage. A stitch in time saves 9.
You address it?
If you
address
repair
it?
something right away, then it doesn't, you know, the break doesn't get... So, in other words, if your seam is pulling apart,
And that's how
you
life
can put
is.
one
If you nurture,
stitch in, and
care
then
for
it doesn't pull apart anymore. Later on, you're going to have to do so much more work to pay for your negligence now.
Well said.
Well, but I don't necessarily believe in that. I say stuff, doesn't mean I believe it. It's just I'm observing stuff or reporting stuff. They say when you the things that you believe in are the things that you don't know. You know, there's a difference in I believe in it and I know. So another one of these, you know, like cliches is something like a cliche or a story you've heard a lot of times. Like I keep thinking of the Achilles tendon, you know. I hear that, it comes to my mind. I think, what does that story mean? Why is that story so enduring? And why are we Christians or whatever, not that I'm a Christian, but whatever, in this school system? How do I know so much about these damn Greek gods? And my daughter, damn, she just fucking took the ball and ran with it, and she knows everything, who everything is, what their story is, and Narcissus who looked in the water, and Persephone who did this, whatever, Pandora who opened a box, Samson who had long hair. Why have we been trained to know these stories so well? And then we say, oh, well, the Romans or the Greeks, they were just, you know, they were just pagans and these are just stories or whatever.
So there was a time in my life when I was interested in learning all this stuff like this you were just talking about, you know? And then I realized, oh my God, I'm nothing more than what I've put into myself. I mean, I could have done things so completely differently and put other things into me, and then I would probably be a different person. And I started seeing human beings as that kind of a device. We're a device. We're a device that through our free will choice, we put into ourselves whatever we choose to, and then that's what we become. We become a part of that. That becomes a part of us. We're constantly changing into something. We're constantly being affected by the atmosphere, by the presence, by the music, by the vibrations, by the frequencies, by everything. And we're putting ourselves into this place. And so it came down to me like, I'm not sure about right and wrong. I'm not sure about good and bad. I'm not sure about God or whatever. But I know that there's something that I like to feel that feels real good to me and makes me enjoy the moment. And when I can get into that space, I feel timeless. I feel at ease. I feel a heartbeat. I feel love for everybody. Like they're my brothers and my sisters and we're here together in every creation, you know? And it's like it feels good to be here and like appreciating everything so much.
Why do we always feel, why do we always be in that mood?
Yeah.
So, you know, you can buy fruit acid or whatever. What do they call that? The fruit acids that they put in cosmetics, you know, and they're really expensive.
Yeah. Bioflavonoids?
Well, it's not bioflavonoids. It's something else. It's like well, we'll have to have
It's
this
like
conversation when I can remember. But I mean, why are we getting them in cosmetics? 'Cause aren't they just right in the fruit?
Yeah.
Well, I've run out of wisdom, so I don't have anything more intelligent to say. I've lost my connection to